Good morning. Welcome to the program agenda. And in case you're getting shocked, wow, ang lapit naman ni Sito sa camera. This is all a temporary arrangement because like everything in life, some things break down and our standard computer, which actually is very new, decided that we wanted some spot treatment. So we have a temporary setup. Our computer conked out last week, and now we are using a loaner computer from LMK, from our reliable supplier, courtesy of Ms. Kajal. And I welcome you to the program. So please don't be shocked with my appearance here on the program. Anyway, it's February 6th, 2023. It's a Monday. Magandang umaga po. And welcome. Thank you for being viewers of One News PH, followers of Agenda, and of course, as always, for being subscribers of Cignal TV, and those of you who try to catch us on Facebook and YouTube. Maraming salamat po. And today we will have our daily starter from I picked it up from one of our senior pastors, and he quoted it from one of his friends. It is from a gentleman by the name of Wolfie Eckelben. Okay, and I believe Wolfie Eckelben is a follower of the Lord who was going through certain challenges, and our daily starter goes: hard is never a reason not to do something. Just because something is hard doesn't mean you should do it. Exercise is hard, but it doesn't mean that you should not do it. Okay? Having a medical checkup, a colonoscopy, or for some people, even just a blood test can feel or be, emotionally be hard, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So whatever the situation may be, if it has to be done, it must be done. Hard is not an excuse. Hindi po porque mahirap, hindi na natin gagawin. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, February 6, 2023, Monday. And the front page is, headline is, U.S. shoots down Chinese spy balloon. Okay, in a series of photographs published by the Philippine Star, you can see, beginning from the left to the right of the screen of your screen, images taken by the authorities in the United States, where allegedly a weather balloon or an atmospheric balloon, according to the Chinese, was shot down by a U.S. fighter jet. Okay, marami pong natuwa, may mga ilang nataranta, may mga natakot, because, it's not every day that you're standing by a tourist spot and you see a balloon being chased and attacked and shot down by a fighter jet. Ayun po, yung mga Chinese said, okay, well, anyway, as far as the news goes, the U.S. military on Saturday shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the Carolina coast after it traversed sensitive military sites across North America. China insisted the flyover was an accident involving a civilian aircraft and threatened repercussions. U.S. President Joe Biden issued the order but had actually wanted the balloon shot down even earlier since Wednesday pa raw po yan. So halos isang linggo na. But finally, the U.S. Air Force shot down the balloon, and that's the end of that story. At the top of the front page, our header goes, United Nations Rapporteur on extrajudicial killings arriving today. Okay, that's according to reports. The United Nations Special Rapporteur for Extrajudicial Killing will be in the country this week to help build capacities of forensic pathologists as the Department of Justice seeks to improve on its investigations on wrongful deaths. Okay. According to DOJ Secretary Remulla, he personally invited the expert to teach DOJ personnel. Meanwhile, comfort women not on BBM's Japan trip agenda. Malacanang has turned down the appeal of a comfort women's group for President Marcos to take up the cause of World War II sex slaves in his upcoming visit to Japan this week. According to Malacanang and the DFA, the matter of compensation and complaints has been addressed in the 1956 deal with Japan for reparations, war reparations. However, the Malacanang welcomes private parties to who want to file cases, claims, etc. Kumbaga, officially tapos na po yung issue ng comfort women at the government level, but those who want to make claim or file claims can still do so in their private capacity. Yung po masakit. Center photo now for a little good news. Filipino pole vault star EJ Obiena reacts after clearing 5.77 meters to rule the 2023 Orlen Cup in Lodz, Poland yesterday. It's Obiena's second title of the year following his earlier triumph in Perche and Eau in France last week. Image taken from Obiena's Facebook page. Okay, yan po. Another gold. Meanwhile, Philippine sovereignty to be upheld under EDCA DND. Okay, according to DND. With more American troops soon joining Filipino soldiers at 4 new military facilities under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, and as the Philippines prepares to carry out joint maritime patrols with the United States in the South China Sea, Defense Secretary Carlito Galvez yesterday gave assurance that Philippine sovereignty would be upheld under EDCA. Okay, yan po, no? And then, okay, para naman sa inyo, those of you who are fashion, beauty conscious, heads up lang po, please pay attention to this next bit of news. The Food and Drug Administration has cautioned the public over the sale of counterfeit versions of prescribed drugs for wrinkle reduction treatment. In an advisory, the FDA reported that fake Xeomin, Xeomin, Xeomin 100 units solution for injection of Clostridium botulinum neurotoxin, popularly known as Botox, are being sold in the country. In other words, baka po kayo mapeke dyan at kung ano yung mangyari sa inyong muka. Baka kakabotox, magmukha kayong palaka, no? So please be careful and just go to well-known drugstores like Mercury and Watson's and Generics Pharma, but please don't go buying this in malls or Changes kasi delikado po yan. Okay? Meanwhile, okay, sad news. Medyo na double jeopardy ang balita ngayon kasi part of the sad news is that relatives and friends of Julie B. Ranara, the domestic helper who was killed in Kuwait, was finally buried at the Las Piñas Cemetery, or in a cemetery, in Las Piñas yesterday. Okay. Yung pong photo na yan is the procession, funeral car taking the remains of Julie B. and may she rest in peace. In the same area of the front page, you have news of billionaire, former trade minister Roberto Ongpin passing away at age 86. Okay? So yan po, no, for those of you who may not remember, tycoon, former trade minister, Harvard-trained businessman, empire builder, and deal maker, extraordinaire Roberto Ongpin died in his sleep last Saturday night in Balisin Island Resort in Quezon Province. Okay. Last but not the least, Romualdez Sara re-elected as Lakas CMD officials. The country's most dominant party, the Lakas Christian Muslim Democrats, elected its new national officers and members of its executive committee and National Advisory Council last week. Okay, Speaker Martin Romualdez and Vice President Sara Duterte have reassumed their positions as president and chairperson, respectively. And that's all the news on the front page of the Philippine Star. May we invite you, please buy a copy today, subscribe to the Philippine Star online, or get a subscription of the actual paper. Thank you very much. We'll now go for a quick break, and after that, we will address two topics this day. Two important topics, and whether you are a lawyer, that's our first topic, and whether you are a member of the agricultural sector or consumer, that will be our second topic. So please stay with us. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. Sorry for that slight delay. We were just making technical adjustments. Let's now get on with the program. And first up on the topic will be agriculture related. Might be baka lang beneficial to consumer but could be disastrous to producers, farmers, etc. Let's find out why this is the case. We are talking about the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership being proposed or actually already in place in the Asia region, and why the Philippines should or should not participate in it. Okay, Gabi, let's roll out the video for our next guest.
Leonardo Montemayor is the chairman of the Federation of Free Farmers. Prior to this, he was congressman for the ABA party list. Montemayor was also an agriculture secretary, serving during the term of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo.
Okay, Sir Leonie, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning again, Sito. Nice to be with you again.
Okay, pag-usapan natin this thing about the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Program or whatever they call it. And we've already guested Diwa Gunigundo on the program where he presented beneficial points of being part of the RCEP. Although he did recognize that the Philippines has problem and those problems are our problems and has nothing to do with joining RCEP. Kumbaga, may problema tayo, ayusin natin yung problema natin, but RCEP on itself would be beneficial. What do you have to say, former Secretary Montemayor?
Una, Sito, hindi pwedeng sa totoong mundo, hindi pwedeng paghiwalayin ang RCEP agreement na yan sa realidad. And the reality is, our agriculture sector is very much unprepared. We are not competitive. Ngayon, pagpapasok tayo sa RCEP, it means we join a system where essentially there is free trade. Libreng palitan po ng produkto. So, sabi nila, pwedeng i-export natin ang ating agricultural products. But which products are competitive? Other than, let's say, maybe pineapple, bananas, ganyan. But on the reverse side naman, libre din papasok yung mga exports from China and other countries. And we know, these are powerhouse exporting countries, especially for agriculture. So sa ganung palitan, which will be the case when we join RCEP, alam naman natin talo-talo tayo starting from the time we joined the World Trade Organization in 1995 up to the current free trade agreement with various countries, di ba? So knowing that, why are we again in a hurry to jump into the fray? It's like joining a boxing competition. Olympics ito, Sito Kasi pinakamagaling to sa mga in terms of technologies, hindi lang agriculture, pati sa industriya at saka serbisyo. Ba't ang tapang natin sumali sa boxing arena? Ang kalaban mo alam mo na lang, nung hindi pa retirado, si Floyd Mayweather. Ang kalaban niya, ako o ikaw. Siguradong tagilid tayo Sito. So we're saying, let's prepare ourselves muna before we join again another free trade setup.
Okay, the disadvantage is very evident. But what about the advantage? Or may mga magsasabi, Kalyoni, na pabayaan mo na yan, Sito, kasi dapat talaga mapilitan, mapuwersa ang agriculture natin to grow up and to be competitive. I'm just voicing what some people have said. Na hindi, kasi wala silang competition, walang threat sa kanila, so ayaw nilang umigi. Puro na lang hingi ng tulong at daing. Kasi like with the retail liberalization, ang nangyari, maraming mga napilitang, okay, medyo gandahan nga natin yung produkto natin.
Iba Sito yung you join a contest where you can be competitive. Iba naman yun sa alam mong papatayin ka. So we're saying, if we are forced to join that, and then knowing that we cannot compete, it's suicidal. So sabi
Okay.
nila, magiging tougher kung tayo, di ba, competitors. But iba yung matatoughen up ka dun sa mamamatay ka eh. So
Mhm.
number one. Tapos number two, yung sinasabing matagal na yatang nabibaby, di ba?
Yeah.
Matagal ang sinasubsidize ang agriculture. Hindi po totoo yun eh. Actually, since 20 years back or more, the share of agriculture in the national budget po ng ating gobyerno, palit ng paliit. So right now, we're only getting, until this recent budget where nagkaroon ng significant increase, one po eh, less than 2% ng total national government budget po ang share ng agri. Compared to Vietnam, which is about 6%, at saka Thailand, 4%. So anong sinasabi lang we have been babied in the past many years? And lastly, Sito, hindi naman mawawala yung current agreements natin, whether it's WTO or the current free trade agreements within ASEAN and between ASEAN and the individual member countries that are now with RCEP, except for India.
Mhm.
Kasi alam naman po natin yung India umurong dito sa RCEP agreement after so many years of negotiation, umurong sila kasi alam nila, tagilid sila hindi lamang po sa agriculture like dairy and I think grains, but even in industry. Kasi mas high-tech po yung, even in China compared to some products in India, China is more high-tech. So the Indian government was worried if they join RCEP at this point, tagilid sila from these technological and industrial superpowers.
Okay, I remember Diwa Gunigundo saying that one key advantage is that if we join RCEP, then we will have direct access to cheaper agricultural inputs, seeds, fertilizers, genetic material, etc. Hindi ba nyo ikinatutuwa yun? Kasi wala naman kayong makuha na ganyan sa gobyerno natin.
Actually, Sito, available na po yan ngayon. Nabanggit ko kanina yung kasalukuyang pa natin, free trade agreements. We are part of ASEAN.
Mhm.
ASEAN has free trade agreements individually with China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, which are the new entrants to this RCEP outside of ASEAN. And we enjoy this tariff and market opportunities within these existing FTAs na ang ginagawa lang po ng RCEP, kinoconsolidate lang po all of these market access opportunities. So, wala naman masyadong mawawala kung wala tayo sa RCEP.
Sino ba,
yes.
Kalyoni, ang promotor ng RCEP na yan? Kasi nagtataka lang ako because as you know, you've been around the block so many times. You've run around the block so many times. I mean, it's usually those who are pushing for it who has much to gain. And I kind of wonder who originally proposed this and why is the government, starting with the Duterte administration up to now, really desperate to have the Philippines join? Ano ba talaga ang mapapala? If not the agricultural sector, then the politicians or the government?
Opo. May mga studies na po na they point out that ang biggest gainers dito sa RCEP would be among others, China and also Japan. Japan especially on industrial and technology products. So papasok sila in a much easier way because they will have a single market under the RCEP. So ang laki po ng ganansya po nila. On the ASEAN side, probably the likeliest, the biggest gainers would be countries like Vietnam and possibly Thailand, including for agriculture. So
yeah, because agriculture is the leader. Thailand is the leader in agriculture other than China.
That's correct, Casito. So, but as I said, even if we are outside the RCEP, pa rin mag-a-apply pa rin yung existing market opportunities and lower tariffs, in some cases, zero tariffs for all the goods and products we are transacting now with the individual RCEP member countries. Ang
Because
pinagbago
meron
lang po
ng
nitong RCEP,
because meron na nga yung WTO.
hindi lang po WTO, but yung mga existing ko natin, free trade agreements
Okay.
between ASEAN countries, of which Philippines is part, and the individual countries like China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, at saka New Zealand. So walang masyadong mawawala sa atin in terms of the market access opportunities na sinasabi na. But on the opposite side, once you enter RCEP, it's free for all yan sito eh.
Mhm.
They say we can export more, but on the reverse side, we will also likely be importing more.
Okay.
Di ba? If we look at the past trends, taon-taon sito, palaki na palaki yung tinatawag na agricultural trade deficit. Ibig sabihin, lumalaki po yung inaangkat natin na agricultural goods kumparado sa mga iniluluwas natin o in-export. I think the last year natin was $9 billion eh. Imagine,
Okay.
almost $500 billion pesos.
Now, Leonie, maiba lang ako ng topic, no? So, I think we've already beat this horse to the death. So, iwanan na muna natin yan. Mukhang ang masusunod lang dyan kung ano talaga yung pagpipilitan ng mga politiko. But on the agricultural side, I don't know if you've read a series of columns I wrote a week, 2 weeks ago, where I have been pointing out complaints of producers, racers, regarding local government units from barangays to municipio to cities who have been imposing all sorts of taxes and fees on poultry racers, game fowl racers, hog racers, mga biyahero. Ano po ba talaga ang situation sa as far as your group is aware of?
Essentially, yung binanggit mo sito, that's the reality on the ground. And I think you also mentioned in one column na hindi lang LGUs, pati yung mga pagdaan ng mga kargamento ng isang farmers, maraming checkpoints na daanan yan di ba? At syempre, may sabi ng iba, hindi yan checkpoint, chicken point. Kasi nangungulekta ng isang manok sa bawat 100 siguro na dala-dala ng jeep na dadalhin sa Manila. So, those things should be the ones that should be attended to immediately, especially in connection with this RCEP. Parang as I said kanina, tumatalon tayo agad. Hindi pa natin, we're not putting our house in order. Madali naman dapat gawin to yung sinasabi mo na make sure the local governments are not impeding the flow and the prices of goods. What is the ARTA doing? The Anti-Red Tape Authority and the BILG to address this.
Well, actually, that was going to be my next question. Gab, standby ka lang muna dyan, Gabriel. Sir Johnny, have you made representations to Secretary Benhar Abalos and the League of Mayors and Municipalities regarding this problem? Because yung isang bayan dito sa Batangas, may requirement sila do sa poultry na magtayo ng fire hydrant or fire prevention equipment to the tune of 1.2 million and kailangan pumunta ka do sa supplier nila. And may mga nagme-message sa akin ngayon na tulungan nyo kami dito sa bayan ng San Jose, naapi kami. What have you done about this?
Yeah. Tama kasi ito. I think we have to make renewed efforts with respect to Secretary Abalos and other concerned agencies to immediately address and remedy this issue. So, maya-maya siguro after we talk ito, among others, I will get in touch with Bong Insyong. Siya po yung Pangulo ng United Broiler Raisers Association.
Yes.
Para magkaisa kami na manawagan po kay Secretary Abalos na agad-agad po i-address po itong problema na ito.
Ay, sasama na siguro sa inyo yung mga magbababuet, magsasabong at magpapato kasi meron daw mga bayan, probinsya all over the Philippines, not just in South Luzon, na ulo-ulo ang singilan. Parang 50 pesos or 50 centavos ba or 50 pesos per head ang parang ang toll fee sa mga gustong magpatayo ng mga manukan or patuhan, etc. So, sasama na sa inyo lahat yung mga yan. Anyway, Sir Leonie, thank you very much for your time this morning, and I do hope we can carry on our conversations because talaga, ano po ba ang nangyari na? Meron I know you supported BBM at the beginning of his presidency. Now, what's happening with your call for a permanent Secretary of Agriculture? Mayroon kasi si Bong, parang Bong Insyong, o si Amy Marcos yata parang daming, Ano yun?
Ganun pa rin ang aming panindigan sito. It's high time for the President to select a permanent secretary. He has too many things on his plate, di ba?
Mhm.
At total, kung meron siyang permanent secretary, so he can always direct his replacement as secretary to report to him kung kailan every day magre-report. Pero at least may full-time supervision over the department.
Okay. Well, Scaglione, thank you very much for your time this morning, sir. And umasa ka, kukulitin pa rin kita in the future in the future episodes of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you also, Sito, and more power to you and to your program.
Okay, thank you po. God bless you. Have a great day. Okay, let's now go to our next topic. Sandali, ano nangyayari sa inyong computer dyan? Talagang minamalas tayo this morning. Magbe-break raw muna. And when we return, we are going to interview the President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Kasi po, kung kayo ay abogado, medyo makinig kayo dahil ito mayroong kayong dapat matutunan sa usapan. We will be speaking with the President of the IBP after the break. Welcome back to the program agenda. And if you're a lawyer, please pay attention. If you are attending law school, please pay attention. And Gab, please roll out the Betamax.
Attorney Bert Estrada is the president of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, or IBP. He previously served as the president of IBP Bukidnon chapter from 2015 to 2016. Attorney Estrada is also a Datu of the Bukidnon Tagaloanon tribe, anointed with the name Datu Manhanayan.
Good morning, Attorney Estrada, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sir Sito, at magandang umaga sa lahat nating mga tagapakinig at nanonood sa inyong programa po.
Okay. In case people are wondering why did we invite the National President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines to the program, it is because we caught in the news that the Supreme Court has disbarred lawyer Berteni Kosing, the spokesperson of the Percival Percy Lapid Mabasa's family over a draft plunder complaint that he posted on Facebook 2019. In that issue, the lawyer, Attorney Kau Singh, used as his defense freedom of expression. From what I gathered, the IBP was not moving for disbarment, but merely a suspension. So, Attorney Estrada, what happened in this case ba?
Yes, Sir Sito. In this case po, our investigating commissioner who investigated the case and the complaint against the respondent found that the respondent has violated our canon of ethics, but recommended a penalty of 6 months po. Upon review po and based on our procedure, the Board of Governors of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines agreed with the investigating commissioner that the respondent has been found liable for ministry that has violated our canon of ethics, but recommended to the court that instead of a suspension that he be reprimanded. But of course, ultimately, it is the Supreme Court that decides these administrative cases because the Integrated Bar of the Philippines is merely it's investigating and recommending arm in regard to lawyer discipline.
Mhm.
And the Supreme Court, upon review and reviewing a recommendation, agreed that indeed the respondent has been found liable of violating our canon of ethics and meted the respondent the penalty of disbarment, finding that he has been found already been liable and meted a penalty of suspension previously, and so he is a repeat violator, and that aggravated his case, which justified the penalty of disbarment in this instance po.
Okay, he is a repeat offender of the same offense, or is it of another case?
Based on the case po and based on record, the respondent was previously sanctioned with a 1-year suspension from the practice of law for also having divulged the sensitive matters in social media in a different case po. The court previously warned him that a repeat of a similar infraction will be meted with a more severe penalty. And that po, I believe, brought the court to impose a more graver penalty of disbarment. Because he was already
Yeah, where does this place the IBP? Sorry, Attorney Bert, I just need to ask the questions because the IBP, aside from overseeing the affairs of the lawyers and the members of the IBP, I presume that because you made the recommendation, your commissioner did the investigation. Kumbaga, ito yung binigay nyo. Does it now place you in a position where, teka, your honors, medyo sobra naman yung ginawa ninyo. It also puts us in a position na parang we were unable to protect our own members. While we believe in disciplining lawyers, we are also, I believe, I'm just guessing, Attorney Bert, you are also obligated to protect lawyers.
The mandate po of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines is firstly to elevate the standards of the legal profession.
Okay.
And based on our Constitution po, it is the prerogative and the exclusive power of the court discipline lawyers.
Okay.
We are merely the investigating arm, and we make our recommendation. Of course, part of that is to also protect our members from harassment suits. We make sure that they're also protected from these kinds of harassment suits that we resolve cases judiciously and expeditiously so as not to lengthen the agony of our members.
Yeah.
And so we do our part. We have several layers of investigation before we make our recommendations. And at the end of the day, we respect that the prerogative of the Supreme
Yeah,
Court.
but does this
The-
situation place a burden on the IBP to appeal to the Supreme Court? Because, I mean, I for one, I agree, no? Meron na palang previous case yan. Meron na palang previous suspension. He has been warned before and he's a repeat offender. But, disbarment, whether you like the person or not, taking away his livelihood for that, medyo masyado yatang extreme. What is the position of the IBP?
Well, in several instances po, and during our dialogues with the court and in our recommendations, we do believe that disarmament would be the last recourse. And these are already found in several cases and jurisprudence. The court itself says that disbarment should be availed of only in the clearest of instances, recognizing po that this is you are about to take away the livelihood of a person. But in this particular instance po kasi, that is how the court saw it, that yes, perhaps po, no, it could have been that it might have just called for a suspension or a reprimand had it not been for a previous sanction po. And the respondent po has the prerogative also to, of course, file for an appeal, to appeal to the court such decision. No longer not the organization po. It is the respondent's responsibility po. We have done our part po.
Sorry, Attorney Berta. This immediate disbarment, okay, on the repeat offense. Kumbaga, okay, strike 1, okay, suspended 1 year. Strike 2, you're out. Kasi dapat siguro may strike 3, di ba? But is this a historical and established practice of the Supreme Court na if you were suspended once and you do it again, you're disbarred immediately?
There is jurisprudence po in that regard. In the case po, in this particular case.
No, I'm saying yan na ba is that the rule na first offense you get suspended, second offense you get disbarred?
Yes, that has been mentioned by the court even in this particular case.
Okay.
They have narrated several cases po wherein which they disbarred the lawyer because he was previously warned that he will be meted with a graver penalty should he do again another infraction. But of course, previously, if a different penalty was meted, a lighter one, for example, a mere reprimand, then it could, a graver penalty could be a suspension. And this is something that is also that is very timely because our new professional responsibility and accountability, or CIPRA, and in there po, the court has codified as well the penalties because previously we depend on jurisprudence po, no? And in previous cases sometimes the infractions are penalized in different manners depending on the surrounding circumstances. But in the new code book, the court has codified this, and in fact, this kind of violation, although it is in a general sense, it still goes into it is always the question is about the lawyer's ability to continue to practice law, and whether or not he has violated the integrity of the profession. In the new code po, there's a specific provision in the code reminding lawyers to be circumspect in the posting and using social media, to be always mindful that we have to keep in mind as officers of the court, we are held in higher standards, and that we enable for us to have our people's confidence in our legal system, that we post with propriety po.
Okay, Attorney Estrada, what about other lawyers, controversial lawyers who are facing cases with the Supreme Court? Normally, how quickly does this happen? Kasi medyo, honestly, no, maybe baka hindi lang kasi nabalita, but I was kind of shocked when I saw it. Kasi parang, wow, where did this news come from? What did Kausig do na talagang parang overnight, nasentensyahan siya kagad. Pero there are lawyers so that we are all aware of who are very controversial, very, they really antagonize people and attack people openly, pero parang wala, hindi naman na-disbar, hindi naman na-suspend. What's going on here?
To the part of the IBP po, we really try to resolve and submit our recommendations in the most proper time or as soon as possible. In this case po, we can see in the case and the decision of the court, this case was actually filed, I think, way back in 2019, and then the recommendations were submitted in 2021 and 2022. I cannot speak on the behalf of the court on other cases, but what I can say po that on the part of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, and especially during these last 2 years, we have done several adjustments to make sure that we also give justice to all lawyers and to the complainants in resolving, recommending to the Supreme Court, giving our recommendation as soon as possible. In fact, we have just submitted about 800 plus case folders to the Supreme Court, subject to their review on our recommendations in these 800 plus cases, which we have resolved in the last less than 2 years po.
Those 800 cases, Attorney Bert, what are they about? Because I think I can divide the issue to two. One is violation of law by an officer of the law or of the court, and the other one is moral, anong tawag niyo doon? Interpretude ba yun or something? Interpretude or something? Hindi ko na, nabubulol ako eh. Yung moral issue, behavior, sexual behavior, conduct, etc.
Yes. Lahat po yun, Sir Sito, are administrative cases, and its issues are all related to a lawyer's continued ability to become a lawyer, or because of his actions that violate our code of ethical conduct. So even if it involves whether or not it is a law that he violated, or it is done in his private, he did something in his private capacity, because as lawyers, whether in public or in our private life, we are always held to a higher ethics standard that we have to continue to act with propriety. We should not engage in dishonest and immoral conduct, which would render disrepute to the legal profession. Because once lawyers conduct themselves in a scandalous manner, in an immoral manner, it erodes the people's confidence in our legal system. Hence, it is ultimately still the public interest that is important in this kind of cases. It is not just about penalizing one lawyer. It is about preserving the people's trust and confidence in our legal system. And as lawyers and officers of the court, we have to be able to preserve that trust for people in our legal system.
On
Yun
the
po ang
yeah, on the average, Attorney Bert Estrada, how many lawyers get disbarred a year, every year?
I'm sorry po, Sir Sito. I don't have that data right now.
Ay,
But
so,
what
sorry.
I know po,
Hindi, curious lang ako kasi alam mo naman, as you being a lawyer, you know, disbarment is a very frightening reality. So I figure, you know, it's something to do. But okay, for lawyers who are watching, is there, may forgiveness ba sa Supreme Court? Kumbaga, you know, will Kausing ever get a chance to show remorse, show etc. Kasi he was disbarred based on a complaint of someone, si Miss Lau yata or something. Now, kung magbago yung tao, will he get a chance to practice law again? Is there forgiveness in the Supreme Court?
yes po, those lawyers that have been disbarred were allowed to file a petition for reinstatement to the role of attorneys. But in this, I think in the new code po, the court has announced that those that have been disbarred can file their petition to be reinstated to the role of attorneys after 5 years from the moment that they are disbarred. So there is still a chance po, and the court will be looking into, as you mentioned, was the respondent remorseful? Has he changed his ways, and has he become a positive member of community? All those things po. But he has to wait, I believe, for at least 5 years before petitioning the court for reinstatement. But yes, there is forgiveness po.
Okay, well, it's good to know. Thank you very much, Attorney Bert Estrada, National President, Integrated Bar of the Philippines.
Thank you so much, Sir Sito.
Okay, God bless you, sir. Okay, let's now end our program with today's prayer and blessing. And please join me. It is from the book, from the King James Version of the Bible, Psalm 19, verse 14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. It is such a timely prayer because it reminds us to watch our mouth, watch our tongue, and always be mindful of our speech because it can get us into trouble. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News PH.